This episode is brought to you by StartingStrongman.com, your source for news, information on how to train, compete, and just enjoy the sport of strongman. Go to store.startingstrongman.com for all of your training needs, such as knee sleeves, sandbag, tacky, etc. Go to startingstrongman.com/sponsors to visit all our sponsors that make this show possible. You can shop through the banners for the affiliate links at that, such as Amazon or Rogue. If you're starting to do all your holiday shopping, just go to amazon.startingstrongman.com before you purchase your stuff on Amazon. Buy all your Christmas gifts. We get a little percentage, helps keep this show going. Make sure to subscribe to Strong Talk Podcast on iTunes and wherever else you listen to podcasts, and really appreciate it. Give it a 5-star rating and review. Share it with your friends. Tell everyone. Really helps out. This week, Kalle and Mike, I'm Kalle, talk to Justin Fisher. Justin Fisher won United States Strongman Nationals, which qualified him to compete at the Arnold Europe, and he talks about how it is to make that huge step in competition at his first pro show, competing against the likes of Brian Shaw. It's an interesting conversation. This is also recorded a couple weeks ago. Kind of went out of order. Wanted to get the Nick Best podcast out there right away, which was last week. Great response from that show. People seem to dig it. So appreciate all the downloads for that show. It's the best, it's the highest download show we've had in a while for obvious reasons. But so we talk about America's Strongest Man a bit, what went on, etc., with Mike and myself and Justin. So enjoy. Welcome to another Strong Talk podcast. I am Kalle Beck, joined by Michael Badalino. I said it right.
You did. How are you today?
I'm good, Mike. You put on a little Highlander contest yesterday. I helped Mr. Clay Edgin promote a contest at Santa Cruz Strength. He was promoting it, but I had to do my Strongman Corporation state chair duties, which includes getting everyone to sign up for memberships and making sure Clay does the contest efficiently, which he did with my help. So how did your contest go?
It's good, man. Would you agree that doing or hosting a competition can sometimes be as tiring as competing?
I mean, I didn't even host the contest, but I am really tired this morning. You have the luxury of being in, well, this is one of the only times I will say that, you have the luxury of being in Texas compared to me in California. So it is 2 hours later. So you're probably slightly more awake than I am. But yeah, I just helped judge and, did, some logistics with Clay and, pretty hands-on yesterday. And, helping everyone. And I'm really tired. And for whatever reason, like, my lats are really sore. But I didn't lift anything other than a clipboard.
That's awesome.
I don't know what happened.
Did you do a round of Moss and you didn't even notice?
I definitely didn't do a round of Moss.
No?
Yeah, even though the Moss wrestling took a long time, it gave me a break because since I want no part to do with that sport. I didn't judge or anything. I did do some commentary. I set up the live stream for the contest on my laptop on YouTube at youtube.com/c/startingstrongman. Also, where you can find this podcast if you want to listen to it on YouTube, which makes no sense. But anyways, I set that up and I did do some commentary during the Moss, like, wow, that looks like it will hurt, or yeah, it helps to be bigger. Great insight like that. I did a commentary during the Moss and some of the other events, but like the Max, we had a Max axle clean and press, and I ran the men's side. Clay chose the ladies, and so you had to keep calling people out, and I did a lot of calling. And people said I was talking like a commentator the whole time.
Yeah.
But I realized as you're judging, you probably can't be doing play-by-play. I don't...
It's somewhat challenging.
Well, I could easily do it. I just don't think it's very professional.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was also a max axle deadlift. And Clay said no, did not allow straps.
Of course, it's Clay. because he has an insane grip.
Yeah,
So
which I saw a few people. I don't think people realize how hard in the sun an Iron Mind Apollo's axle is to grip, even compared to other axles.
how heavy did anyone get? Anyone?
The winning lift on that, it was elevated,
Uh huh.
probably about 14, 15 inches. The winning lift was 655.
I was gonna say I'd be pretty surprised if anyone got close to right about 700 or over 700 rather.
Yeah, well, I'm glad no one got to 700 because with these tires, there would maybe be room for about 700, which is something we said. And I said, yeah, a couple people probably get above 6. It was fun, but yeah,
Yeah.
on an event like that, grip, it doesn't even matter if it's from the floor or whatever. It's hard to grip a 600 plus pound axle without straps, obviously. So that was the limiting factor. But how you actually ran the whole contest, so you had to do all the things.
It
Where
was pretty good. We did 6 events. We did a medley to start off, which everyone loves medleys. I mean, I love medleys,
especially
and
to start the
everyone
day.
hates them. Yeah, yeah. So we did a yoke, keg, sandbag medley, and then we split off, and half the people went and knocked out log, and then everyone else knocked out their axle tire deadlift for reps, and then they switched, and then we went and knocked out a Braemar stone and a hammer throw, or half and half, and then switched, and then we finished up with Atlas stones. And by finished, I mean we destroyed the concrete with the 300-pound stone. So, yeah, just waiting to give the old Parks and Rec department a call tomorrow in Lakeside City and figure out how I'm going to repair that. So,
Oh, strong man. Yeah.
you know what? It's like okay, so we've done it on that pad for a few years, but this is the first year I made that semi-pro class, so I brought my 300 stone out.
Sure.
And the slab is thinner over on that court compared to there's another random slab next to the baseball field that they use. So we used that once, but I was like, it should be okay over here, and we had a bunch of mats. And sort of towards the middle of the guys going, I was like, man, this stone keeps falling, on top of this one, it keeps rolling in this one area. I was like, surely it's just because the stone, because it had a little flat spot in it. And then I was like, I feel like it's sinking a little bit. So I moved the mat, and I was like, crap. So I moved it somewhere else because that was kind of close to a seam. I was like, it was because it was close to the seam.
Sure.
So I put another mat down, and yep, destroyed that part too. So not going to do stones over there anymore. I'm going to have to move the stone to the other slab, and I'll let you know how I end up fixing that.
Yeah. Stay tuned to a future episode to see how Mike fixes
the concrete. Maybe I'll do we'll have a how-to video. How to fix the concrete after you destroy it with a stone.
That's actually would be pretty useful because many of people have ruined their concrete slabs lifting stones. And when people ask me, if they don't plan on competing in strongman, I never recommend stones to be a big part of it because they do things like this. They're kind of volatile. They're hard on your body. They cause skin irritation. They are dusty, they're dirty, and they ruin. Tacky gets everywhere in gyms. It's a lot. A round object like that does not displace its weight very well when even with mats where it causes little craters in in parking lots. And with all of the strongman contests throughout the nation and world in parking lots, I've seen plenty where this has happened. So that's a very applicable how-to video for strongman.
We also bent my log, so I've got to go ahead and weld that again in the next. Or actually, my buddy's gonna weld that again for me and fix the ends.
So the ends bent.
Yeah.
Did you have Robert Oberst competing by chance?
No, I had him dropping it on the tires, so because I use bumpers at home, but my bumpers have started to get beat up, so I was like, I'll just use metal plates and I'll just have him put it down on the tires. Well, when you're going for a max, sometimes you miss the tires, and
Sure.
the tires were missed, and this dude was like, I don't know, 6'7", and dropped it from almost full lockout. So yeah, that didn't work out very well.
Yeah, that's why I think tall people should be banned from competing.
You and Vitalis Lalas are probably on the same page.
Robert Oberst is the one who bent my log, but
Ah,
I just keep using it. It's been bent for years. It still functions fine.
is that the one where he like cut himself the first day he ever did log, and then it got infected?
Yeah,
Is that
we're
the
like
same day?
the second or third, but that's not when he bent it, and
Oh, okay.
that's when I thought for a split second that Obi was going to kill me because he I kept telling him to like stop dropping the log
Yeah,
and watch it as it goes because it can bounce into you.
yeah,
And then it did, and the opening of the hand cutouts, and they're homemade, so they're kind of sharp, bounced right into him. And things are very different when you're lifting mid threes to 400 on a log compared to um, my own semi-professional lifting of somewhere in the 200 range most of the time, where it bounces higher with more weight,
yeah.
and it bounced right into him and cut the front of his shin very badly, which I did not realize. And he went down, and I went, and I think in my, I nicely put it, that's what you get,
Yeah,
which he he got really mad about.
didn't
And
like that so much, huh?
no, and he looked like he was about to fucking throw me over a wall or something. But I was like, then I quickly realized that he was actually hurt, and I felt really bad. And now we just mention it every now and then. Like, remember that time you wanted to kill me because I was an ass? And then he's like, yeah, and the worst part is because you were right. Like, you kept telling me not to do that. But
Just remember, if you're out there listening, Kale is always right.
yeah, you heard it here from Mike. I'm always
That's the
right.
takeaway.
Yeah. But yeah, so you have to kind of be careful with these things, especially also when you're dropping things from, someone who's 6 foot something.
You always learn, man, every year. I mean, write stuff down that you messed up and don't do it again next time.
I don't listen. I just keep doing the same thing over and over.
There are a lot of people out there that unfortunately do that, but we've both been to really good competitions, and we've both been to competitions that are like, huh, this kind of sucks. So you take the good and the bad, and you try to do your best with your own competitions.
Sure. So your contest that you promoted was a unsanctioned,
Yep,
and it was a Highlander contest, which for there was a period of time where there was a Highlander federation,
there was, yeah.
and it seemed like a really cool concept, but it never really went anywhere. I competed in one in like 2008, I think, and it was fun. Basically, what it is it's you pick half Highland game events and half strongman events. So you could do a log press and then weight over bar, or stones caber, etc. So that's kind of why you needed 6 events instead of the traditional 5 for strongman, because you need the equal amount of events.
Yeah,
Was
I
one
went
of the
with four
rules.
and two this. I went with 4 and 2 this year, only because I got rid of weight over bar just because last year we had a lot of close calls.
Did
So
people almost drop it on themselves?
yeah, a couple times. So
Really?
I had a lot of people, because for the longest time this is kind of like an entry level competition where people that maybe have never touched any of these implements until that day, they're like, oh well, I'll come on and try this. So
Uh-huh.
now that it's got a little more serious, I'll probably bring some things back, maybe do like lightweight for distance. But you know what everyone wants me to do? What event does everyone want me to do?
Caber?
Dude, I'm like, listen, I could get a caber and you could come out here, but if you don't know what you're doing, it's not like it's not all that exciting to watch people screw it up the entire time.
No. Um, in I've probably done at least half a dozen Highland Games contests.
Hmm.
I would never say I was any good because I never really trained for it. The times, crazy thought, the times that I had my best throws is when I actually trained specifically for that and
Yeah,
went to parks and practiced throwing.
sure.
The only good caber performance I've ever had, meaning actually turned it and actually turned one well, was when I practiced with a caber fairly frequently. It's kind of a pain in the ass to get a giant stick and then find room and to flip it end over end and stuff. And it's a weird event. It's very technical and it's like super mental. Like you're supposed to just throw this 20-foot telephone pole thing up in the air, catch it in your palms, and then balance it with the heavy end up. Like and the whole time you're like, this thing's gonna fall on me and kill me. So like even if you're strong enough, like I'd go to this and I'm just kind of doing the Highland Games half for fun, half to see like old friends that were my Highland Games friends, and I would not, and I'd just be like, I just bomb the caber because I'm not used to it. Where other people that you can tell don't really have much, even if they're inexperienced, they don't have much thought for like personal safety, would maybe manage to do something with it, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's not an event where you really want to just like try.
So you're telling me that Catfish Cooley could probably turn a caber at any given time?
Oh yeah, one hand bottle of Fireball and the other.
Yeah.
I think he has a new video on his hands.
It'll probably happen.
He could turn the caber and then follow it doing cartwheels or backflips.
Do you watch? I mean, I know we both, like the old social media stuff. But do you follow Huck Finn Barbell on Instagram? Tom Finn. I think that's his first name.
Yeah, not really. I see stuff when like Slingshot reposts it, then every now and then I'll go through his profile and be like, this guy's insane, but I don't actually follow him.
I think
to see like the day to day, but I'll check it. Every couple months, it's worth like a quick scroll and being like, whoa, this is nuts, and then I do that again a couple months later.
Him and Catfish should do something together because this dude the other day, I think he finished his squat workout by squatting 315 and then sidestepping and running out of the gym with it.
Yeah. I'll every now and then when something like that goes viral, I'll check it out. But I think I think they call it collaborations. Yeah.
So maybe they could turn the caber together and like catch it in the other person's hands on fire, something like that, with an alligator in the middle.
I'm sure if they sat around for long enough, they could come up with plenty of things to do, which might end in their demise. But yeah, we should. I think I'll reach out. I'll put out the catfish signal and be like, "Hey, have you seen this guy? I think you guys would get along.
Let's get together, brother."
Yeah.
So
other contests that went on yesterday, other than the local contest we put on, America's Strongest Man happened, and Brian Shaw showed up.
No way! Did he win?
Yes, Brian.
Oh man,
Brian Shaw did pretty good.
Did he win every event?
He actually did win every event. There was which, I mean, he is the world's strongest man, so you'd figure he'd do good. It's just like when Hafthor Bjornsson shows up to Iceland's Strongest Man to win it. He's kind of won it like 6 or 7 years in a row, where it's a little different, and it's like a nationalistic thing. People take pride that he won it, and they kind of expect him to. He's like, oh crap, like I gotta fly home for the day from filming Game of Thrones. Everyone will be really upset with me if I don't win Iceland's Strongest Man, because obviously I'm Iceland's Strongest Man. I'm Hafthor Bjornsson. Where Iceland has like barely over 1 million people in the population.
Yeah, it's a pretty small country.
So, we're in America, we're not, I don't think anyone really sees it as that big a deal if Brian Shaw doesn't. Then everyone goes, all right, well, this person won, but clearly, Brian Shaw beats them in every other contest, which that's not really fair to the people that win those years, because as you know, when you compete, it's against whoever shows up. You can't. You have no control on whoever decides to compete alongside you or not.
So you're saying we shouldn't speculate endlessly?
well, if we don't do that, then we have no reason to have any sort of podcast, so we might as well quit it again. Um, but yeah, it's cool to see Brian doing that. I think it helps. It should help bring the event into more of a spotlight again.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. I'd like to see more and more emphasis on America's Strongest Man. Like you look, Britain's Strongest Man and Europe's Strongest Man over there are in stadiums now with thousands of people buying tickets. Um, Obviously, I have no say in it, but as a fan, I don't see any reason why America's Strongest Man couldn't get to that kind of level. And if we really want the sport to grow in America, then those kind of contests need to.
Yeah, I mean, still there were unfortunately, only 6 guys came.
Yeah, it was.
A couple last minute injuries, maybe, or something. I
think there were some last minute injuries, and I also think when you see Brian Shaw announced pretty far out that he's competing, and I feel that's kind of disheartening for people sometimes.
Yeah.
We're a contest where you have to pay your own way to, and how the prize money worked out, it was very front loaded, where like first place got a $10,000, second got $1,500, and third got $1,000, I believe. There's not too much incentive in getting second or third. Covering your costs and everything.
Shaw's probably gonna win.
Right, which is why I said there's not too much incentive in getting second or third. But
he actually said the other day that at any given time he wants to be top 3 at any event, any single event in the world.
Yeah, he was just on the power.
Probably true.
Yeah, he was just on the power cast, and it was and I feel he's pretty much there.
Yeah.
With anyone in the world, for the most part. And if you can do that, you're probably going to win a lot of contests, and he does. I think, if you haven't listened to him on the Powercast, I think that was a really cool episode with
it was, dude. It was really good.
Him and Ben Smith, 2015 CrossFit Games champion. And what I liked about it, it showed very much, not that the sports are the same, but the approaches to strongman and CrossFit at that level are very similar, where you kind of just know you have to be good at everything, because it's not as there's a lot of variables. It's varied is the word CrossFit uses, and that's what strongman. It's a little more specific on how you kind of know exactly the time domain you're going to do, roughly what the events are, and you can kind of categorize them. It's not as varied, but as CrossFit, but it's more varied than the other kind of sports that we all kind of lump in together, where people don't really lump CrossFit so much into the strength sports segment, when really I'm going to get everyone to unsubscribe when I say this. I feel like CrossFit and strongman are the most similar of those sports, if you think about it. Not from...
we gotta get everyone fired up, man. We can't have all these medleys and stuff. It's too CrossFit-ish.
Yeah, even though medleys are more of what strongman originally was.
Like 15 kegs or 16 kegs.
Yeah, but we also today are going to talk to Justin Fisher, who he just competed at the Arnold Europe. He's been doing the sport for a fairly short amount of time, and has done really, really well. And so I want to get him get his his take on how he went about it. Went about it a little different than what you'd say the most traditional path people would say. Getting to compete at an international pro level. So we're going to get him on the phone. We'll talk about America's Strongest Man with Justin Fisher, and I'm going to call him right now.
I thought his name was Mr. Fuscular.
Yes.
Isn't that his actual name?
Yes. His name is Mr. Fuscular, but I don't want to confuse people, so I'm going to call him Justin Fisher. That's how I put him, because I don't want, if I have him in my contacts list as Mr. Fuscular, people, they're going to scroll through that and be like, who's this guy? Well,
if you went, if something were to happen and they started going through your phone.
Sure.
And they saw Mr. Fuscular, and then they saw whatever you have Ovi listed in your phone as.
Yeah, they're going to get really confused, where Justin Fisher, that's just a guy. So let's
But
get.
what kind of guy? Are you friends or friends?
Well, let's find out. I'll ask him, and let's see if this all works. Calling Justin. We'll talk a little bit about America's Strongest Man. I'm sure people like that dial tone too.
Oh, I hope he doesn't answer. That way it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Oh, here he is.
Hello?
Hey Justin, it's Kale and Mike. You're on Strong Talk. How are you doing? And we're live right now.
Good, how are you?
Doing good. We're Mike and I were just talking a little bit about America's Strongest Man, and Brian Shaw dominating it, and you just competed with Brian, and so
Yes, I did.
you might have a little bit more insight on. I don't know if you asked him about America's Strongest Man 2 weeks ago or anything like that. So you might have a little bit more insight on why he decided to compete in it again or anything like that.
He really didn't have a lot to say about America's Strongest Man.
Okay then.
I think it was for the money.
That's fair. That was kind of when people asked me. That's what I said, and I said it seemed like it's not too far, and the prize money was a lot better, and it's probably a pretty easy adding to the bank account for him. Kind of a sure thing.
I mean, Colorado's not too far of a trip right over to where that show was for him.
Yeah.
He just flew out to Barcelona, and that's an hour flight compared to a 13-hour flight altogether. So.
Sure. For I think similar money, and even I'd say more of a sure thing. No offense to any of the American pros, but Brian Shaw is the world's strongest man, so he's probably going to be the favorite to be America's strongest man.
Yeah, I think he definitely was the favorite to be America's Strongest Man in that show for sure.
Right on. So you competed at the Arnold Europe, and what I was talking about is that you went through. You haven't been doing the sport very long at all. You've been doing it what, like 2 years?
Yeah. This December will be 2 years actually.
So yeah, not even 2 years. So how'd you get into the sport in the first place?
My brother-in-law's best friend is a pro in the Highland Games, and I met him at my sister's and brother-in-law's wedding, and talked to him a little bit. His name is Mike Zokowitz. He holds the world record for weight over bar. It's 56 pounds for height. And he just kind of looked at me and he asked me, what I was into, and if I ever competed in any strength sports. And I told him no. So he told me to pretty much just buy a kilt and show up at a show that was about an hour from my house. And I did. I showed up. And Highland Games is kind of just like strongman. It's camaraderie and everything like that. Everybody knows everybody. It's like a family thing kind of.
Definitely.
So I showed up. I got hooked to that, and I enjoyed the what's the word I'm looking for? The challenge. I'd never done it, and I came into it and was pretty much just a natural at a few of the events, and then a few of the guys I got to know over time who did strongman were pretty much like, have you ever done strongman? I'm like, no. So I did. Sam Graymar used to hold a Highlander event, which is 3 events Highland Games, 3 events strongman, right in Hartford.
What are the odds?
This is all coming full circle. We were just Mike actually hosted a Highlander event yesterday, and that's what we were just talking about. So it's like we planned all this.
Yeah, right? So I went to that, and Sam Graymar, a few months later, was hosting a small team strongman competition. So a guy, he pretty much dragged me to that. I didn't have a whole lot of interest in it. And I went there and competed with him, and Matt Mills is the chair for what was NAS then, now Strongman Corporation, so he was judging it.
Mm-hmm.
And after the end of my day, the last event was I think a 300 stone no tacky over bar, back and forth over teammates.
Sure.
And he told me to do one thing. I picked up a stone and just started, pressing it over the bar. And he grabbed me after the show and pretty much was like, "You've never done strongman?" I was like, "No." "You've never touched a net with stone?" I was like, "No." And he was like, "Where do you live?" And I ended up living 15 minutes from his gym. So he pretty much told me, "I expect to see you next Saturday. We train strongman Saturdays at my gym. Come on down." So I was like, all right, well, Lightweight Pro just told me to start training with him. That doesn't happen too often, and the rest is pretty much history for that.
Yeah, you just kept up. So
Matt's been my mentor, my coach in this, guiding me through it and teaching me and training me.
There's a lot of parallels here where, last week we had Nick Hadge on, of course, and it's similar. He's like, yeah, I just met Matt and it was close to Lightning, so I kept going there. It just seems like I feel like Matt Lightning Fitness is just producing everybody, or maybe I only talk to people in the Northeast. I don't know what it is, but like it seems like a lot of good talent is coming out of there. But
it's definitely a special place, and we're a big family down there, and everybody supports everybody and pushes each other, and everybody loves Matt. Nick Hadge is like one of my best friends too. He's a brother of mine.
Yeah.
We did USS Nationals together. We trained for it together along with Andrew Triana, and we all went down there to represent Lightning, and it was a blast. And then Nick went on to win Junior World Strongest Man.
Yeah, that's what we talked about with him last week, and this week we're going to talk to you about going over the Arnold Europe, but just want to get some background. So, you are Justin Fisher, also known as Mr. Fuscular. So
yes, I am.
Which I think people can kind of put it together what that means. So basically,
I get that question a lot.
Yeah, which means you're muscular, but there's a little bit of husky to it, a little bit of fat on top.
Fat but muscular.
Yeah.
And where did it come? What's the origin story?
You don't have to be politically correct.
Yeah.
What's the origin story? Where did it come from? The name.
Actually, somebody called Mills Fuscular in one of his, naked, shirtless, almost see his crotch pictures on Instagram. And like a few of us at the gym were like, that means fat and muscular. Like, we kind of take offense to that. No, I'm going to run with this. Like, you're not even close to having an ounce of fat on you.
Yeah.
So we kind of ran with it for a joke, and then I just said, screw it, and just completely ran with it.
You thought that Matt was not deserving of that nickname, so.
No, he was a lightweight then. He was 231.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can see that deep V, and you just wonder what's right beneath the crop on that photo. Every time when he
I train with him enough. I don't need to wonder, and I don't want to know. When you're changing together, and then you just happen to catch a flag, it's like, oh god, that was too close. That was way too close.
You're like, how did he ever make 231 with that?
You can ask him that. I'm not going to answer that question for him.
Well, yeah, he had some trouble making the weight the last time, so that's a little bit of the problem, maybe. So
he got to the biggest he ever was, and then tried to cut 40 pounds. So
yeah.
He finally realized he's not lightweight anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to give that up. He needs to join you in the whole Fuscular thing.
He's trying, but he'll never give up his abs.
No,
he's already said.
It's the downfall. The vanity can hold you back in the strongman world. It's one of the things that can.
You've got to let it all go and not care. Just walk around shirtless. Whatever you got packing.
Yep.
Not even care.
It's a good way to live. But
it is. It's wonderful.
So obviously, you got in the sport. You're just walking around. Other big guys see you, and you're like, hey, you're a big guy, and you're pretty strong. So it kept propelling you along until you found other big guys that said, hey, you're pretty strong. So you clearly naturally, pretty good. Did you have a sports background, or why do you think you're able to load a 300-pound stone without tacky, without really ever doing it?
Yeah, I played football growing up. Did it in high school. Did track and field in high school. Well, not track, but I did the field part, the throwing.
Sure.
I don't run unless I'm being chased. There's no reason to run.
No.
So I did all that growing up. we didn't have wrestling, we didn't have lacrosse or anything like that, so I didn't have any of that kind of background. But I just always had big, stupid natural strength.
Sure. Yeah,
And then
you're able
I
to.
really I like to push myself.
Yeah.
And, that challenge is always good.
Yeah, and I feel like it's once like you get past the point where you're able to do like the traditional sports like that, and you're just like at a wedding, just you probably still kind of went to the gym, and someone's else like, hey, you should try this, and then it gave you something to actually like have a goal towards, and use some of the ability. It makes life a lot better. Like you're like, all right, I like working out, I like being a big strong guy, but without any sort of purpose, it gets pretty dull and boring.
Yeah, before I got into even Highland Games, I just did like bodybuilding routines off the internet and like out of magazines, all Arnold stuff. Did the chest day, the back day, the leg day, and it got very stale and very boring. So it pretty much came at a good time. And then I started researching the Highland Games. It's like, okay, to be able to do this, I'm going to have to work and get some strength for overhead. And I never like just strictly worked on getting my overhead strength or explosive strength more up and stronger.
Sure.
And then, once I started training with Matt, he just would tell me what to do, and I'm like, okay. Because it's just much easier. If somebody's like, here, this is what you're going to do. You're going to get stronger this way. And you have a lightweight pro telling you, it's like, okay, I think you know what you're talking about. Let's see what happens.
So you're saying when someone with more experience and that has accomplished things gives you advice, you listen?
To every single person.
Wow. And you've had success as well. It's an amazing concept.
Yeah, just listening to the right people that, have a lot to say. Like even, at the Arnold Classic, I had a few hiccups and everything, and what do you know? Brian Shaw is offering me up advice on how to keep my head level and what to do next.
Sure.
The 4-time world's strongest man is helping you out. You fucking listen.
Yeah, you really should.
What do you mean 4-time? It hasn't been on TV yet. He's only the 3-time right now, right?
Yeah. That's the power of the internet hasn't swayed that at
all. Yeah. So you kind of you got invited to the Arnold Europe, as we mentioned a couple times, but you went. I'd say it's an unconventional route in a way, but more so it's just that there's more avenues opening up lately, and place and ways for strongman to advance their career than just one route where everyone thinks, okay, you have to go get your pro card, then you do X. That's how you'd feel is the route, but it's not necessarily. So you went to United States Strongman Nationals. It was the second year they've had that, and you won. When you going into that, did they say that there was going to be a invite going out to the Arnold Europe before that contest?
No, before the contest was announced and all the information came out. Originally, it was just what was on the line was the old school wrestling title belt.
Yeah.
And then the title of United States, the Nationals champion. So after I qualified at a show in New York Strongest, Todd Georgie's show, I immediately was like, yeah, let's do Nationals. Nick was doing it, Andrew Triana was doing it. So it was fun. We all trained together. It made it more fun, and the goal in mind was to just bring back the title belt to Lightning Fitness and bring it home. It was probably a month and a half before Nationals, I think, that Willie announced the invite to the Arnold Classic Europe was on the line for the heavyweights and super heavyweights.
Yeah, so that's pretty big.
I was very motivated. That was just like over the top, like, wow, because I never thought I would, get to that point of getting an invite to such a show like that. So that just, the drive was there, the passion was there, and you can ask the people I was training with. Once that was like announced, it was pretty much, and I'm not saying this with like ego or cocky, but it was pretty much, all right, get the hell out of my way. I'm winning this show. You know,
Sure.
I want that invite. I want to make it there.
Yeah, that's a huge leapfrog, as far as a career in strongman goes, because even when you win your pro card, then, someone has their pro card, I'm sure, working with, training with Matt and being friends with him and other people, is that now people are like, well, now how do I get invited to an international show? Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that, if you turn pro, that you're automatically going to these places, which should be the goal. If you get pro, so you kind of, winning an invite's almost better in a way, because then you're already seen by those, promoters and everything. So yeah, so that was huge. So how was the competition at USS Nationals?
The competition itself was absolutely freaking amazing. Just even being there in Barcelona and everything, and then the day before at the rules meeting, I was.
Or at Nationals, we could just go into the Europe's fine.
No, not Nationals. At the Arnold. Excuse me. I'm all thrown off.
It's all good. We could go. I was just seeing like how I wanted to know how close it was with you winning that invite first. Like, when you went to USS Nationals, was there other people that were like right on your heels, or did you, kind of handily do it? A Nationals contest is almost harder in a way, because there's so many competitors. You can have a big point swing pretty quick.
Yeah, we I knew very well two other guys that were in my class, Frank Quatucci and Brett Somerville, and I've competed against both of them before. So, we had a little rivalry the whole day and leading up to it, but it's that fun rivalry, just, talking smack, but then right there supporting each other the whole day, like get the rep, push, keep going, especially on like Conan's wheel, and then right there just cheering each other on. Frank took second place. He was right behind me.
Okay.
Like, it came down to I got him on the deadlift, and I got him on log and Conan's wheel. He was the only one to finish the Stone Series. He got all four, and that bumped him up, and it put him right behind me.
Sure. So he almost. He almost.
I don't know the final score, the final points, but yeah, it was close enough that both of us were like, waiting to hear about it at the award ceremony, like, because they were posting the events. I mean the scores online, so you could check it. And then you're just waiting there, hitting like refresh, like what's going on? There's a big delay. And then people were texting my fiance, who was sitting next to me at the table, like, hey, he won. Like, so there were a lot of people cheering for me and rooting me on that were keeping track, that knew before we even did.
Nice. So, you get a couple months to train for a huge step up in competition. For the Arnold Europe. At that time, you don't know who you're going to be competing against, but you could pretty much be competing against anyone. You could be, competing against Brian Shaw, which you ended up doing. So how did your training change, knowing that you're like, you're going to go to an international stage, and you're probably going to be the most inexperienced person there. So, you got work to do.
My training didn't really change per se, because when I'm training for any show, whether it was, New York Strong, Nationals, or that, it's the same mindset that no excuses. The training day, you have some days you have good days, some days you have bad days, but there's really no excuses. Go in there and push myself as far as I can push myself, on days when it's like, okay, you're going for a heavy single, you're going for this, you're going for that. And then especially push myself for days like you're going after reps, everything. It's just, every time I walk into Lightning, the mindset is all right, I have to hit exactly what's on paper today. That's my goal. That's what I have to hit. And sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. Sometimes your body just says, the hell with you, we're not doing this today. And you got to get over the mental part of that and not, kill myself like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do this. It's just, okay, today was a bad day. Tomorrow will be a better day.
Sure. Yeah. So then so how was the trip over to Barcelona and that whole experience?
The flight over sucked. I don't fit well on planes,
No, that's never fun.
but and I don't sleep on planes. But Barcelona itself is a beautiful city. My fiance and I got there Tuesday, so we had some time to check out the city and then relax a little bit and get ready for everything. Eat some good food, some good steak, and then just chill out and relax. Get accustomed to the hardest thing was getting accustomed to the time difference.
So
And a lot of guys who had done international shows they suggested getting out a few days early, and then your body just gets used to that. And I was grateful I listened to that too, especially.
yeah,
By the second day we were over there, I was just a mess.
Not a lot of people listen to that, man.
yeah.
A lot of people, yeah.
Well,
It's good advice.
It just goes back. A lot of people just don't listen in general. So
Sure.
it seems.
Yeah, we see that.
But
we see that if the people that want to come in every day and max out their deadlift or hit a PR every single day, every single week, and they wonder why their training goes backwards instead of forwards.
sure, there's no building. It's just testing. Yeah, it's the common trait with people. So you get set up. You're going to compete in the Arnold Europe. How did it feel any different being an international show than some of the shows you've done in America, or obviously it's your first pro show, so or did it was, I think Strongman Corporation actually ran the event, it seemed like, so
yes.
It's probably actually fairly similar, I think.
Well, the first thing I learned, and Jerry Pritchett and Brian Shaw both looked at me and smiled and said, "Welcome to your first international show," is that I'd say everybody who trains in their home gym will probably always have better equipment than what you get at an international show at some of these. Yeah. It was a bit of an eye opener. Like, I'm spoiled training at Lightning Fitness because Matt just buys everything. This came out, we're going to buy that. We're going to buy that. It's all top of the line, beautiful, deadlift bars and logs and dumbbells and everything, the yoke. And then you get there and you get what you get.
Yeah. It's hard to know what's going to be there, especially, if even, the promoters aren't local, they are just relying on other people that are going to be there.
So speaking, go ahead. I was going to say the get what you get thing. Were you originally supposed to do a log instead of the dumbbell?
Yeah, we were supposed to do a last man standing log, and the log they had just was not up to standards. The handles were just a mess, and they were small pins, and they wanted us to do a max log with metal weights and put the log down gently. It wasn't happening. It wasn't happening, and we took a vote, and the dumbbell won.
Where did the dumbbell come from?
The same people.
They just happened to also bring a dumbbell.
90 kilogram dumbbell. So that was the other eye opener. I've got a lot of people that I talk to and reach out to, and they reach back. Eric Dawson had been kind of coaching me through because he's doing a lot of international shows, and he told me you have to be ready for anything. Train for anything, and just make sure your body can handle anything. And that was his best advice for international. And go figure, the first event changed the dumbbell. I hadn't trained dumbbell in like a year. So was that okay? If I'm going to go to an international show, I'm going to start next time. I'm going to start playing around with a lot of different implements.
Sure,
just get my body moving.
Yeah, just standard stuff. Even if it's not necessarily going to be in the show, just to keep your the technique down and be acclimated to different implements, especially something like a circus dumbbell, which is, there's a whole timing and everything that goes and balance that goes along with it, where you can't really rely as much on like strict brute strength like you can as with a log or an axle. You can kind of flip flop between those fairly easily. I feel.
I feel the same way, and I had never pressed a dumbbell a small-ended dumbbell like that.
Uh-huh.
I've owned, we have the big dogs at Lightning. So the only technique I'd ever trained was, resting it against the side of my head and using that to press off of. And you're not resting that small-ended dumbbell against your head and being able to be explosive like that.
No, it's just it's different shapes and it's a little longer. And just training with, even if it's the same, like if you're training for a log, it does help to train with a variety of different logs, because you don't know, because there is little differences. Same thing with circus dumbbells. So yeah, just in a sport which is not standardized, it's good to not standardize your training is a good way to put it.
Now that you mentioned that,
Exactly.
that you've never used a dumbbell like that, you're going to show up to the gym next week, and they're going to have a bunch of those dumbbells at Lightning Fitness now.
You never know. Matt,
He's like, what do
toys.
you mean I don't have something?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, what's the UPS driver feel like when he shows up to Lightning Fitness every day to drop off some sort of new heavy thing he has to unload? That's a real hero.
I have to pick out and make sure that some people are there to help, because there's some of the stuff he just won't unload.
He just knows. He sees that on his route, and he's like, these fucking guys again.
He probably follows all the
he's-
social media stuff, and Matt's like, hey, I'm going to pick this up, and the UPS driver's like, look, I know I only got 2 more years to retirement, but I don't think I can do it. He's like, it's not even worth it.
Yeah,
They came out with this. I'm not delivering it. Can't do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there's been a few things he's bought where they're like, I'm not unloading that. And I've had the day off or whatever, and I'm just there, not even on a training day, like on a Friday, just hanging out, like waiting for the UPS driver to show up.
That's like you said, it's like a family, so you got to pitch in there. So I think you had, it seemed like some jitters going into the events, and like with the change and all that. And so how did the first events go?
Oh, they could have gone better for me, but they are what they are. I was happy, I got 2 reps, which tied me for last place. I didn't get 1 rep and go in last place by myself.
Yeah,
I was happy about that.
You picked up that half a point.
Yeah, exactly. But the jitters were definitely there. They were there the day before when, Shaw was at the rules meeting, and it's like, holy shit, I'm meeting, like my idol. This is the guy I said I've always wanted to meet in strongman. Just meet him, and then it's like, in my mind, I'm like, holy shit, I'm competing against this guy too. What's going on here?
Yeah.
So the jitters were there. The guys are awesome. Meeting Jerry Pritchett and then Terry Hollins, he's a 15-year veteran. I've been watching this long before I ever thought I was going to get into strongman or even thought I could do any of the events. And there I am side by side with these guys.
Yeah, it's
kind of like a fangirl too. Jitters and fangirl, like holy cow, holy hell.
Yeah, you have to get past that and go, okay, these are my idols. Now you have to treat them like your peers.
Yeah, and all the guys really were just really good about that. Just laid back, talking, joking the whole time. Everybody made me feel welcome.
Yeah.
Which was just mind blowing, because you never know how some people are going to be, and you hear everybody's own personal stories. This guy's a dick. This guy's a dick. Yada yada yada. And then you meet everybody. You're like, wow, they were absolutely awesome. Just humans. Just down to earth people.
Yeah. Well.
That are just monsters.
Yeah, that they just happen to be huge and really strong as well. But not everyone's gonna get along with everyone, and that's why you really can't take someone's word for it when they say, oh, this person was like this or that, because that was their experience, and you're like, no one in life really has the exact same experiences. Of course, if everyone says that and they all say it verbatim, there's probably a little bit of a trend there, but yeah, it's good to go into things with open mind. So how'd the rest of the events go after you did the dumbbell, and then what was up next, and how the whole contest ended up shaping up?
It was an 800-pound deadlift for reps, and I zeroed it, which that really just like set me off as like just a complete mind screw. I pulled that in training. So that there was a change in that too when they had it set up for us. The bar they had was warped, and every plate they had were different sizes.
Awesome.
They were the same weight, but they were different sizes. So the guys pretty much were like, "We're not pulling on this. We'll just go away with the deadlift." And someone went over to the powerlifting show and got an IPF squat bar and kilo plate.
Oh, so yeah.
So there was no give to that bar, and I've never tried to pull 800 on a stiff bar. I tried that day. I got it to my knees, and then I just couldn't. There was no whip, so it wasn't coming up.
Yeah, you weren't able to get that nice, flex out of the bottom and that little bit of speed to kind of propel it, past the stick point.
Yeah, I smoked it off the floor, and then I just got stuck. And I tried it again, and then I walked back from the bar. I re-strapped up, and I gave it one more shot, but it didn't budge.
Yeah, that's.
But two or three guys zeroed that, so it really didn't hurt me too much.
Sure. Yeah, it kind of goes back. Yeah, and it kind of goes back to the same point where you're like, you kind of have to train to a variety of things because, yeah, if like a change like that, if you're using calibrated plates and a squat bar, which is extremely stiff and isn't going to bend at all, is going to be a very different feel than, a deadlift bar and, wider plates. Like that's, for me, like a deadlift bar is like 30, 40 pounds, easy difference in my max.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never tried to pull a max on a stiff bar. I don't know if I'm ever going to try to again because that was miserable.
Yeah, why would you?
We have very good deadlift bars. And that was just different because there was just no way we could pull on that bar. It was a mess.
Yeah, it was like
and all the guys were like, we're not pulling on this bar. It's not happening. It's as simple as that.
Wow, it's fun.
That threw me for a loop, but they've all told me they're like, that's not something you really can ever plan for because when they say deadlift, 99.9% of the time we're actually pulling on a real deadlift bar, whether it's made special for the show or it's just a regular old deadlift bar.
Sure.
What happened with the yoke? So, what happened with the yoke and the
yoke
miscommunication? Yeah.
Yeah. I got to go from the announcer, and then it wasn't an actual go, so I went 5 meters, and I was cruising. I had to put it down and restart immediately. And it's a 1,000-pound yoke, so really you only get one shot at a good pick and move.
Yeah, before your CNS is just fried.
Yeah, I was blacked out about halfway when I repicked it and like walked backwards with it. I don't remember finishing. I know I saw the line and that's all I saw.
But you did finish, so.
Yeah. Oh, it was just pure anger and rage that I'm like, oh my God, I did 1,010 smoothly in training. I'm not finishing this event. That was the event I felt really good about. So
yeah.
I'm pretty sure I took last place on that one too.
I was gonna say, what was your PR prior to that? But I guess it was 1,010.
Yeah, 1,010 for just about 55 feet.
Nice and smooth. And so was there 2 more events? So there's like was there a medley and then of course the stones after that?
No, there was a arm over arm seated truck pull.
That's what it was. I remember, which I was glad I haven't seen that event very frequently lately. Which, even though personally as a competitor I'm not a fan, visually I'm a fan of the arm over arm truck pull.
It wasn't. I'd never done it. I've done a sled pull, standing sled pull for a competition, but I'd never done a seated arm over arm. I didn't mind it. We didn't pull on a pulling rope. That was the only part. We pulled on like a small rope, so there was so much play in it.
Sure.
But I watched the first guy go, and I saw every time you let up a tension, you were taking it all again.
Uh-huh.
So my only goal the whole time, I just did long, full body pulls, and then immediately had my hand on the rope to keep the tension there, so I wasn't re-pulling all the slack of the truck. And
Right.
I felt pretty good about that one. I finished it in 26 seconds. It
What?
put me right in the middle of the pack.
Yeah. And what? So yeah, like lower 20s is towards the top.
The kid who took second place, I forget his name, from Poland, did it in 18, shot it in
Matuis.
20. It was like 24, 25, 26.
Nice. Yeah. So good placing there, and then of course you had a. I I've, I have a hunch it's your favorite event. Atlas Stones was the last event.
That is my favorite event.
What's the heaviest stone
I
you've done so far?
What's that?
What's your best stone so far? Your heaviest stone?
425 to 52.
Nice.
We have a 450 at the gym. I just tried to load it again yesterday, just for fun. It's a big stone. It's a bigger mold. I've lapped it, but I've never actually loaded it. But that will happen very soon.
Nice. And then at the contest, it was 400 for reps.
Yeah, it was 185 kilograms, so it was like 406 or something like that. It works out to be, and it was for reps. It was like a 52 height, I think, or 52 or 54. I forget what Shaw said. He measured it.
Shaw measures everything.
He does. He has I was surprised. He has a measuring tape in his bag that he travels with.
Yeah, it just shows like he's the best for a reason. Like his attention to detail is just to make sure like, and from what I heard is he'll call a promoter when they say like a height is this, and he's like, it's this, and stuff like what the height for the car deadlift at Worlds, he'll measure it so he knows in his training for next time. And I'd be curious just to see his like Excel sheets and notes of all of these things he must keep.
He kept that show together. Like for the arm over arm truck pull, the rope was set on a carabiner all the way to the right of the truck, and then they had the truck in the middle of the lane, so we would have had to have been pulling over our left all the strain, and it took about a half hour, 45 minutes because none of the promoters spoke English, so he was dealing with a translator to them, and got the truck lined up all the way to the left, so we were pulling straight with the truck.
Wow. Yeah, it's
Yeah, he was like a saint at that show, keeping everything in line.
That's amazing. So how did the stone go for you?
I was very happy with that. To end the day with the truck pull and that to hit 5 was just beyond thrilled. The guy before me did 3, and my mindset walking up to that was like, all right, I just have to get 3 faster than him, and I get more points.
Mm-hmm.
So I got my 3, and then I looked over at Dion, and I said, time. She said 30 seconds. And I was like, all right, let's go, and got 2 more.
Yeah,
so I was very, very happy.
Just getting started. Yeah, a 400-ish stone for 5 reps is pretty damn strong, man. Yeah, you did good. So
I appreciate that.
after this, so what's next? Like you did the Arnold Europe, or Arnold's was that one considered the Arnold Europe, or is it the Arnold Spain? I guess it's
Arnold Europe.
Yeah.
That's where it's going to be from now on in Barcelona.
Nice. So
it wasn't in Madrid, but I guess they outgrew the space or something. I met Bob Lormier, and he was telling me about it.
that's another good contact to have.
That's a very good contact to have, and it was a good handshake and a good talk and a few head nods throughout the day. They're always helpful.
There you go. He's if people don't know, is big behind the scenes with all the Arnold events. So with that, what's next? What's the plans here? Just keep training, keep getting stronger. I assume you want to keep competing at a pro level and doing these type of contests. Of course, you never want to go. You just did the Arnold Europe. You don't want to go to some random parking lot and stuff now. That's not the fun part. You always want to keep progressing. Yeah,
I say that like I said, not like ego or cocky, but humbly. But it's not like, yeah, I'm not going to do that show. It's not big enough. Right now, what's next is I want to recover and train and just work on kind of go back to the fundamentals, the basics. Take a little time off from events and just do some, like strict press, work on that, get my deadlift stronger, get my hips stronger, do a lot of accessory work so it transfers over to deadlift and stones. And, work on my front squat to just get that explosiveness strength right up again and just really get stronger. It was tough for me because this whole year since training for New York Strong, then Nationals, then this, as soon as I'm done, I'm still in pre-contest mode. Like, all right, what's next? Like, knowing what's next. And in my mind, I was like, all right, yeah, I'm going to go I was signed up for the next New York Strong because it's the winner of that goes to Arnold, South Africa.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I'll just keep
I'll just keep traveling.
USS has five Arnold invites this year. It's all posted on their website.
That's pretty cool. Yes.
5 shows. So in my mind, I was like, yeah, I'll just keep going. And like I said, I listened to people. I wasn't listening to my body, but I listened to people like Matt and Andy are like my mentors and trainers in this. And they were like, only Justin can make a decision. Only you know what's best for you. But 3 to 6 months off, a little bit of time with no goal in sight, but getting stronger and getting healthier and getting faster would do you some good.
Sure.
And like I said, I listened to those people. Matt's 35 and been doing this for a long time. He's not one of them guys who came in, did 2 big shows, and then you never see from them again. Or the guy who wins his pro card, and you never see him again.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of those.
How old are you, Justin?
32.
Okay, so you're not like Triana and Hadjung or anything, but you're young in the sport, which helps because I always feel like there's like strongman, there's like training age and then like age. Like someone like Ode can get in the sport, but he starts when he's in his 40s or whatever, so he's still able to have some good years before you've all the pounding your body's taken. So you're still young in the sport, which is good. But yeah, I think it's always good to have some sort of off season where you're not just running your body into the ground. Like it's very easy to have 12 weeks to this show, then you're done, then you have 12 weeks to this show, and before you know it, a whole a year or 2 went by, and you never had all you were doing was training for this specific next event. You never had an off season to just go back and, like you said, work on the fundamentals. You don't really have time when you're training for an event to do all the little things and correct some imbalances and all that. So yeah, it's a good decision.
Exactly. I mean, just in that decision, like, I trained with Matt and Rob Kearney yesterday. We were just training raised deadlift, and then we did frame and stones, and it was just fun because they're training for a show, and I'm just like, whatever. If I don't hit it, I don't hit it. It's not that big of a deal. It was just back to that, like, just having a good time instead of just mentally beating myself like, oh my God, I have to hit this.
For sure.
The mind change, just even an ease on your body. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's okay. We got time to work on that.
No.
On the same note, or the reverse, if I got an invite to a big show, I'm absolutely not going to pass that up.
Of course, yeah. When opportunity knocks, you have to take it. That's just how it goes. So, if anyone does want to invite you to a big show or just wants to follow your training in general, how can they do that?
If someone wants to get in contact with me,
yeah, your Instagram links, all that good stuff.
Instagram, Facebook, you can message me. My Instagram, as you said, is Mr. Muscular. And then, you can get a hold of me on Facebook. It's under Justin Fisher. And my profile picture is a selfie with Arnold and Joku Ahola. So it's very easy to find.
Should be able to figure it out. I appreciate it. Appreciate you taking your time, taking some time out of your Sunday to talk to us, and good luck in your future training. And
thank you.
all that. And thanks for listening to Strong Talk. If you want, you can subscribe on iTunes, tell your friends, give us a 5-star rating and review. You can follow at starting.
Absolutely.
Can follow not just you, Justin. The everybody can. But you can follow Mike at Chronos Strength on Instagram and at Starting Strongman. And we'll see you all next week.